The concept of the Egyptian afterlife and its significance is deeply rooted in ancient Egyptian belief systems, where life after death was a central theme. The Egyptians envisioned the afterlife as a complex, multi-layered realm that required navigation through a series of tests and challenges to reach a place of eternal peace and happiness, often depicted as the Field of Reeds. This belief in the afterlife was intricately linked to their understanding of morality, justice, and cosmic order, embodied in the concept of Ma'at. The significance of this is profound, as it not only influenced Egyptian religious practices and burial customs, but also shaped their art, literature, and daily life, reflecting a society deeply invested in the idea of life after death. One specific example illustrating this point is the Book of the Dead, a collection of spells, prayers, and incantations designed to guide the deceased through the underworld. This guidebook underscores the Egyptians' detailed and structured perception of the afterlife, emphasizing the importance of preparedness for the journey after death. Another example is the elaborate tombs and pyramids that were constructed, particularly for pharaohs and the elite, which were filled with goods, treasures, and inscriptions meant to assist and protect them in the afterlife. These practices highlight the centrality of the afterlife in Egyptian culture and the lengths to which they went to ensure a favorable passage. Several scholars and historians have noted that the Egyptian afterlife concept provided a sense of continuity and hope, serving as a stabilizing force in their society. It promoted the ethical behavior necessary to achieve a successful transition to the afterlife, thus reinforcing social order. However, this concept is not without challenges and controversies. Some modern interpretations question the exclusionary nature of the Egyptian afterlife, as it was more accessible to the elite who could afford the elaborate preparations necessary for the journey. Additionally, alternative viewpoints, such as those from contemporary religions or secular perspectives, may not align with the traditional Egyptian beliefs, leading to debates about the universality and relevance of these ancient practices. This point connects to other aspects of the main topic by reinforcing the idea that the afterlife was a detailed and navigable realm, essentially a secret map that needed to be decoded. This notion profoundly influenced Egyptian mythology, religious practices, and their broader worldview, serving as a foundation for understanding their civilization's approach to life, death, and eternity. In ancient Egyptian mythology, the concept of the afterlife is deeply intertwined with the idea of a secret map of the underworld. This map, often referred to in texts like the Amduat or the Book of the Dead, is a symbolic journey that the deceased soul undertakes through the underworld, which is believed to be filled with challenges, gods, and mythical creatures. The underworld, or Duat, is perceived not just as a place of judgment and transformation, but as a complex landscape that the soul must navigate in order to achieve eternal life and unity with the gods. The significance of this map lies in its function as a spiritual guide, explaining the necessary steps and knowledge required to successfully pass through the afterlife's various stages. It represents the belief that life continues beyond death, and that the deceased must be well prepared to face the trials that lie ahead. This preparation is crucial for the soul to attain immortality, reflecting the Egyptians' deep-seated belief in the afterlife as the ultimate destiny. Two specific examples illustrate this concept effectively. First, the Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and instructions, serves as a sort of travel guide for the deceased, detailing the pathways and incantations needed to safely traverse the Duat. Similarly, the Amduat offers a detailed account of the sun god Ra's nightly journey through the underworld, symbolizing the cycle of death and rebirth and providing a paradigm for human souls to follow. Supporters of this idea argue that such maps show the Egyptians' advanced understanding of spiritual matters and their effort to create a comprehensive guide to the afterlife, ensuring that individuals could find peace and eternal life. This reflects a society deeply invested in the continuation of the soul and the existence of a structured cosmos where each journey is defined by divine order. However, some scholars challenge the literal interpretation of these maps, suggesting instead that they are metaphorical narratives. They argue that these texts reflect the socio-political environment of the time, emphasizing moral conduct and social order rather than a tangible realm. Alternative viewpoints also consider the possibility that these beliefs influenced cultural norms and practices more than religious doctrine. This concept of a secret map influences other aspects of Egyptian afterlife practices, such as burial rituals, the production of funerary texts, and the construction of pyramids and tombs, all designed to equip the soul for its journey. Through its symbolic nature, the secret map not only outlines the path to immortality, but also weaves a rich tapestry of mythology, religious practice, and cultural identity that has intrigued and fascinated scholars for centuries. In exploring the role of the gods and goddesses in the underworld within the framework of the Egyptian conception of the afterlife, it is essential to recognize that the pantheon of Egyptian deities participated intricately in the journey of the soul through the underworld, or Duat. This realm was not merely a place where souls were sent after death, but was a complex landscape governed by its own deities and laws. The gods and goddesses of the underworld played crucial roles in guiding, judging, and protecting the deceased as they navigated this otherworldly terrain. The significance of the deities in the Egyptian afterlife underscores the seamless integration of religion and daily life in ancient Egypt. For the Egyptians, the afterlife was a continuation of existence, and the gods were pivotal in ensuring a smooth transition from the mortal world to eternity. This belief provided the spiritual structure that underpinned societal practices like burial rites and the construction of elaborate tombs. Two prominent examples include Osiris and Anubis. Osiris, the god of the afterlife, resurrection, and agriculture, served as the judge of the dead. He determined the fate of the deceased by weighing their hearts against the feather of Maat, symbolizing truth and justice. Anubis, the jackal-headed god, was the protector of graves and overseer of mummification. His role involved guiding souls through the underworld and presenting them to Osiris in the Hall of Judgment. These narratives were not only mythological tales, but played out in real-world applications, such as funeral practices and the construction of the Book of the Dead, a guide for the deceased. The reverence for these deities and their functions illustrates the Egyptians' profound belief in an ordered cosmos governed by divine forces. However, these views were not without potential challenges or controversies. The strong emphasis on the afterlife and divine intervention in moral judgment brought about questions regarding free will and divine determinism. Additionally, alternative viewpoints may arise from comparing Egyptian beliefs with those of other ancient cultures, which might depict the afterlife in less structured or deity-centric ways. The roles of gods and goddesses in the underworld are intrinsically connected to other aspects of Egyptian afterlife beliefs, such as the rituals performed by the living to aid the dead. These rituals, directly influenced by the mythology surrounding the gods, highlight the interconnectedness between religious belief, social practices, and the eternal journey believed to await every soul. This complex web of belief reflects the Egyptians' efforts to demystify death and ensure perpetual harmony between the mortal and divine realms. The concept of the secret map of the underworld in the context of the Egyptian conception of the afterlife is both fascinating and complex. The ancient Egyptians envisioned the afterlife as a journey through the Duat, or underworld, which required navigation using a secretive and detailed map. This map wasn't a physical object, but rather a spiritual guide found in various funerary texts like the Book of the Dead and the Amduat. These texts served as a travel guide, outlining the perilous path the deceased soul would take, facing obstacles and encountering deities that would test their worthiness before reaching eternal life in the field of reeds. The significance of this concept lies in its influence on Egyptian burial practices and their view of immortality. It underscores the Egyptians' belief in a life after death that required preparation, knowledge, and guidance. The map provided a framework through which the living could ensure the deceased's safe passage, reflecting a deep cultural investment in the afterlife and its mysteries. One vivid example is the Book of the Dead, which includes spells, prayers, and incantations to aid the deceased in navigating the underworld. Similarly, the Amduat provides a detailed account of the sun god Ra's nightly journey through the underworld, symbolizing the soul's journey and rebirth. These texts were often included in tombs to accompany the deceased, demonstrating their practical application as essential tools for the afterlife journey. Supporters of this idea emphasize the sophistication of the Egyptian belief system, highlighting how it reflects a broader understanding of life, death and rebirth cycles, both in religious and cosmic terms. However, challenges and alternative viewpoints arise from the inherent exclusivity of such knowledge. Access to these funerary texts was typically reserved for the elite, leading to discussions about social stratification and the democratization of religious practices. Furthermore, the secret map concept connects to other aspects of Egyptian afterlife beliefs by illustrating the integral role of Ma'at, or cosmic order, which underpinned their cosmology. The journey through the underworld was not just about spatial navigation, but also about moral and spiritual alignment with Ma'at, intertwining ethical conduct with cosmological beliefs. This connection offers insights into how deeply religion, morality, and cosmology were interwoven in ancient Egyptian culture, highlighting the enduring complexity and intrigue of their view of the afterlife.